Hello, everyone. Welcome to Next Week Future. Huge news on Tesla FSD. There's also some pretty big Waymo news, and there's other big news on Robotaxi and also on AI. So we're going to go over that in detail, and then we'll discuss it with our good friend Randy here. So let me get over to that. Okay, so for people who don't know, this morning, Friday, November 21st, Tesla FSD 14.2 is rolling out. So 14.1.7 was not fully rolled out to everyone, but it was already starting to go wide over the last few days. And now 14.2 is deploying. This is a big deal. 14.2, Elon said, was sublime. It was supposed to be an amazing sentient version of it. But for me, the main point is that there were many promises and forecasts, predictions made around FSD and Robotaxi. And now we're seeing those things happening because a lot is supposed to happen between now and the year end, which is only 5-6 weeks away. And then also things that are supposed to happen in Q1 and Q2, et cetera, over 2026. So let's review that now. So the new versions of FSD promised and delivered. We said we have 14.2 and 14.3 before the end of the year. So now that 14.2 is happening in November, then that looks really good for 14.3 coming in December. And 14.3 was supposed to add reasoning by the end of the year, such that it could read the signs in English and other languages, and also where it could drop you off and then go look for a parking space and find it and park yourself. For people who haven't used FSD, the finding of parking spaces is a bit problematic in the 14.1.4 versions. It will find a parking space, but it could be a handicap parking space. It could also have trouble finding a parking space because if all the parking is taken up over a block, it could choose to keep circling that block and then not expanding its search parameters, which is not necessarily that difficult. It could, by just making some, again, human reasoning adjustment, you say, okay, I can't find this block. I've already driven down twice. I got to look further. So by having that kind of intelligence, you could then comfortably say, okay, you'll find a parking space. It'll happen and you'll do it safely. So then you can not worry about it. So it doesn't take that much more reasoning from what we are now, but there is a gap between what we have now versus a reasoning able to find a parking space car. Robotaxi app is available to all iPhone users. That's already done. Again, green showing it's already happened. And that will mean that when they roll out to many more cities, other things like that, the people will be able to come and use it right away. They're proving them right away. Arizona has been approved. So that's a self-certify location. There is another step where they need to provide some paperwork for them, but it's not, Arizona has to prove that paperwork. Once Tesla handle the paperwork and say, we're good to go, then they say, okay, fine, go ahead. Thank you for telling us, right? So the approvals have happened, and then that will go bright green once they actually start the service in Tempe or Phoenix or wherever they're going to go. They also, another big promise was 1,500 cars, about 1,000.
You may not have known, but this morning, Nevada approved also.
Okay, Nevada approved also. Yeah, I knew that so Nevada and Florida were also tracking Tesla Austin, SF area, Arizona, Nevada, Florida, down in line 16 in bold. That we're expecting that. So now we can put a green for Nevada. Okay, so 1,500 cars with start of no safety monitors by end of year. So it looks like with some expansions and then the increased, sometimes reduced wait times, sometimes increased wait times, it looks like there may be 200 cars in Austin now. So we could be on track to those 500. I think the numbers have increased in the Bay Area as well. But those are, if the FSD safety stuff has happened, then it will be easy for them to increase the number of cars. The cost to do that is trivial. Some people say, well, why would they hire 1,000 safety drivers, safety monitors, and then only use them a little while and then fire them? The reason that they can do that is that they said that every new city that they add, they'll start with safety drivers and safety monitors. So if I have 1,000 safety drivers and safety monitors in Austin and San Francisco, and then I open up Arizona, Nevada, and Florida, when I take them out of those locations, I move them to the other locations, right? They have to hire people willing to move, right? And then I'm going to be opening up a lot more cities after that, like 10, 20 cities. So again, as I shut down one location, so you'll need a standing workforce of thousands of safety monitors in order to expand all these cities and start off each region from 10 to 100 to 200 cars with safety monitors and safety drivers, right? So they'll have this roaming workforce as every 3 months you're doing another wave of cities. Okay.
Right.
Go ahead.
No, that was okay. That was good. I think I'm slightly on the other side of that one. Yes, they're going to need those folks, and yes, you could hire people that say they're willing to move. I'm a little bit more on the idea that the safety monitors are going to be removed sooner rather than later. So you put a date of December 10. So
Yeah.
so December, if we remove the safety monitors in Austin on December 10th, that would free up maybe 200 or something like that, people to go to San Francisco, or maybe San Francisco gets approved about the same time, because I don't know whose information is right on San Francisco, but my understanding is really it's only a matter of getting enough miles in. And I can't imagine they don't have enough miles by this time. It makes no sense to me that they haven't turned in enough certified miles to get that license.
Right. The other thing would be that the safety driver safety monitors, because we don't have fully operational Tesla bots yet, then the package delivery, food delivery part still needs to be done by humans.
Yeah.
So if they are no longer monitoring or safety driving the vehicles, they can be a passenger, a working passenger who goes and delivers packages and delivers food for that, because that's half the business. It's like Uber Eats and package delivery is half of that business or more, especially at certain hours. Like later at night, when people aren't getting rides. And then we've said that over 3 months, the new cities that they opened, if they open up Arizona, Nevada, and Florida, then by the end of Q1, they would have similar scale to what we plan to have for San Francisco, the 500 to 1,000. So again, a promise, a projection that we haven't seen yet, but that should happen. And then April 2026, we should have CyberCab. So having a 14.3 or even a 15 version of FSD will be big to make sure that CyberCab works great. So tracking to that happening, and then the million cars potential by the end of 2026, or even 100,000. That was opening up the network and stuff. So the progression with FSD, getting to even better versions, the expansion of Robotaxi means that at some point you start dumping in all the car production. You can make 5,000 cars per day. Sorry, is it per day? 5,000 cars? No, yeah, I think it's per day. 5,000 cars per day. Yeah, because 1.8 million. So 10,000 cars every 2 days is basically what you're looking at. So 5,000 cars per day, you can add that potentially as all Model Y or Cybercab Robotaxi type levels.
Yeah, and so at $40,000 your profit on each one of these, if you've even got 100,000 of them, okay, Brian, tell me now. I always do the power of 10 wrong. If you got $40,000 a year and you've got 100,000 vehicles, 4 billion or 40 billion?
When I just
ask Grok.
40 Excel here, or Google Sheets,
Oh,
40,000 times what was it? 100,000?
100,000. 100,000.
So that is, yeah, 4 billion.
4 billion. Okay. So even at 100,000, we've got $4 billion a year, which would be about where we are on energy right now. So if we have 100,000 by the end of next year, we roughly equal current energy. And of course, as it expands into 2027, we would pass energy and pass vehicles, I'm sure, at that point. Now, FSD could become a pretty big deal, because the $7,000 purchase, or the $100 a month, which is which is $1,200 a year. That could start to become big numbers if you're talking about maybe as many as 1 million people being added to that per year, maybe more than that, maybe a couple of million.
Right. So in terms of the numbers would be 4 billion for 100K cars, 1 million would be 40 billion, and 40 billion would be 4 or 5 times our last year net income levels.
And
So
just under NVIDIA right now.
and just under NVIDIA.
I think they're
And
57, I think, right now.
with the 57 billion, that was
I think that
revenue
was pre-earnings, so it would have been up on the last 12 months.
No, but they're doing like 50 billion of revenue and like 30 billion. That's up per like quarter. So like they're just like printing money, aren't they? Like at $30 billion per quarter.
I think the trailing 12 would have been before the earnings call was 57 billion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think projecting forward, they're
yeah.
at 100
billion. It's 100 billion.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, so these are huge numbers as they are happening. Okay. Any more about those financial numbers?
No, but I wanted to drop back just a minute to talk about, or maybe you want to do it later. Want to talk about the reports out this morning on FSD.
Let's do that now.
Okay. So I've been watching them as fast as they come out. And unfortunately, there was a flurry in the beginning and then not so many in the last hour. But there's been a couple of errors still. So let's be honest. There was a couple of mistakes made by, in particular, one person said that it came out, it went up to the top of a parking structure. And it had trouble going up and it came down perfectly. So I don't know what's going on with that. But it just said it was jittery. It didn't say it stopped or it couldn't do it. And then there was a couple of other little minor, really, really minor things. On the other side of the coin, the positive things in terms of adding a miles per hour choice over the speed limit. So you can be 0, you can be 5 miles, you can be 10 miles, or you can be, unlimited. So you can make a choice as to how much over the speed limit is the maximum you want the car to go. That's a huge improvement.
Right.
And then it now monitors your record using FSD. And so you can see how many miles you're using FSD and how effectively that is working. And so the guy who also had the problem going up and down in the parking structure, he had dropped to 99% in his effectiveness. But overall, that sounds like a really fun addition to the stack. Did you notice any other mentions?
No, I have not, but it's a thing where when they release a major new number, like 4.1, 4.2, 5, or 15, that they're focusing mainly on safety, the big safety step up first, and then the usability, the smoothness is something that they polish up later. So a 14.2.1 or 14.2.2, like here we have 14.1.7, right? The 14.1 was more rough, right? 14 was rough. 14.1 was less rough, but it still has a step up. And then the point releases make it smooth. So the jitteriness, all that comes out in the point releases. So the main thing is when you,
Everybody that reported said that the regular driving, the smoothness is 100%. That's been solved. It was just really in this parking structure. Yeah.
Right. So new capabilities have less smoothness in them in general than the old capability. The old capability, okay, I'm not touching that, so it stays smooth. And then I'm adding some new thing, so it's less smooth. I did it so it's safe and new, and then I make it smoother, less jittery, more confident, all those kind of things. So you can dial up, because the 2.9 or whatever it was super smooth, super stable, because they had reached, here's as safe as we can make it, here's as smooth as we can make it, right? So that's the kind of evolution that the FSD has. That if you are concerned about the and you should be concerned about, the smoothness, the confidence, all that kind of stuff. That comes out in point releases as they make the usability better. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So now Waymo also has some big news. So they're in 5 cities. They announced 5 more cities, like last week or something like that. Miami, they're already going into. There's 4 others. They're now about 2,500 cars, which at the beginning of the year, I think about 1,500, 1,800 cars. So they stepped up the number of cars that they have. And then they'll probably, with 5 new cities at 100 cars per city, by the end of the year, that would be 3,000 cars, right? And then they're going to add another 5 cities, 15 cities by the end of 2026. And that should be 4,000 to 5,000 cars by the end of 2026. So they're making some pushes. In context, though, that would be 1 day of car production at the 5,000 cars for Tesla. So even though they're trying to scale ahead of Tesla, push where they can push now, this growth is not necessarily going to, Tesla can still pass them. It's not like there's some people saying, oh, once they do this, then Tesla have a hard time catching up. It's like, it's a trivial thing to catch up on that.
Now these Google guys are smart, all right? But even Jobs said, look, I don't have to be the first one out. Right. In fact, in some cases, it's better to be second. Right. And I was kind of the innovator in the bicycle industry, and there was a distributor who I competed with, and he used to say, I wait to see what Randy comes out with and which things work and which things don't, and then I copy them on the ones that work. So, it's not Tesla coming in behind Waymo in these cities, I think, is a big benefit because they've already kind of got the community looking at self-driving vehicles as something that's okay. So I'm not
worried. The regulatory, they're smoothing the way on regulatory side.
Right. Yeah.
Is that now you're approved in Miami, now approved in all the other cities. There was a little map of it. Let me go. Where's the map of Waymo? Here it is. Yeah. So here's where they're looking at, into Seattle, Minneapolis, Detroit, DC, Nashville, Denver. So all these locations are being opened up so that Waymo's there. If Tesla is as safe, whatever, they can go there as well. So Waymo's doing Tesla service by getting all of these regulatory approvals pioneered first. Anyway, so now nothing more on Waymo. xAI, Grok, and AGI. So xAI released Grok 4 about a week ago, and it briefly topped, Grok 4.1, I'm getting all mixed up. So Grok 4.1 briefly topped the leaderboards, and then Google Gemini came out. Google 4.1 Fast came out like yesterday, the day before, and it tops the agentic leaderboards, and it's also very low cost on the per token. So it does the work at a very affordable level. So you need to have fast and affordable and doing agentic work for you, having it do tasks for you. And then 4.2 is supposed to come out by Christmas. Elon posted about that. So 4.2 is supposed to be this, again, a huge step up in capability and model. And even bigger would be a Grok 5, which is now pushed to Q1, January to March, which Elon has said is 10% chance of AGI. So the promises and the release rate of the xAI Grok models is amazing. Like every week, a new different kind of model is coming out every 3 days, something like that. And then, so it's looking almost getting to a continuous ramp where it's like, I can keep improving with reasoning, keep improving with other training, keep improving with data, and I can just shove out improved models constantly. So the improvement rate is more smooth of like improve on the point releases, a big leap up to version 5, version 6, and then improvements all along the way. So it's less of a, you release OpenAI GPT-3, wait 2 years, and then get a GPT-4. Release the 3.0, and again have these 1 year gaps. It's a far more smooth cost improvement level.
This is just an observation, and I could be completely wrong, but I think that everybody has their niche, right? So you've got Anthropic that has their niche doing really, really good coding. You've got OpenAI, who they're concentrating on the company level,
Enterprise business.
right? Enterprise as well as consumers. You've got Microsoft that's going to be building on their enterprise business and using their enterprise tools that they already have. Everybody's got their niche. I feel like Elon is niching gaming and video because he concentrates so much of his X effort, so much of what he's showing us on X has to do with getting the videos longer, getting the videos more realistic, showing more things in gaming, showing more animation, all these kinds of things. And quite frankly, I'm impressed with 4.1's speed, unbelievably fast. I mean, like 2 to 3 times faster than the previous. But the quality of the work right now on that side, not as good.
So I have a different view of what you described in terms of the niching thing. I think it's a matter of focus. I view it kind of like in military terms. So for people who were following World War II or that kind of thing, or they know the game of Go, which is a territory control thing, is I hit you where you are not, and then I can penetrate and then encircle, right? So if I encircle your army, then I can attack you from all sides. So right now it's like wrestling, trying to do, get you thrown to the ground and then, destroy your thing. So they all want to go for the whole thing. It's just how they're choosing to attack, and they say focus first in one area and then take over from there. And then also have this fundamental improvement, which is like raising armies, right? I'm raising my chip army to do training and that in order to have more power to do what I need to do. So even though they may say, okay, here's how I'll win initially and get more money and resources, the end goal is to win it all. It's not like because Anthropic is strong in coding that I'm going to leave it to them. And you see that with Gemini releasing a coding model, also releasing something like the cursor tool. Gemini, there's it's called anti-gravity. So they're focusing on when do I engage and compete with the others on this thing, right? The fact that they're ahead means I'm still trying to do it and then overtake them in that what I view as critical areas, right? So they are competing everywhere. The fact that one group has sustained a lead in a particular section is, possibly a temporary state of affairs. And now with faster and faster releases, the moats could disappear, right? I have a moat, but then it, you bridge across and then I'm overrun, right? So AI blitzkriegs can happen where I'm going to overtake you. So like Grok 5, because something. We also saw that with GPT-3, GPT-4. People were making all these tools around GPT-3. GPT-4 comes out, and then all those tools go to crap, and then you only use the GPT-4 model. So that happened where something highly dominant, highly disruptive come along, and we didn't get quite that with Gemini 3. It's pretty good. It had some displacement of other things, but I think the first half of next year, we're going to see a lot. Grok 5, Grok 6, Gemini 4. There'll be fast shakeups, and if the level of improvement isn't just now I'm just a little bit better, and if you like the other thing, you don't need to switch. But if you get to the point where I'm a lot better, okay, now I got to consider switching, because even though I'm used to using this, that level of difference is enough. So the rate of change and the competition is going to step up to another level.
So in this world, the reason for changing or not changing has completely changed. So I was talking to a friend the other day, and he goes, I would have to build a whole new relationship with a brand new friend if I'm going to switch. He says, I really like, the one that I'm dealing with now. He's so sycophantic and, always agrees with me and laughs at my stuff. So it's a whole new world in that regard. Now, I was just curious. Last night I was listening to the Moonshots with Peter Diamandis, and they were talking about Gemini 3, and apparently Gemini 3 shot to the top of a couple of the leaderboards. After a day or so, or do you know where Gemini and xAI are fighting it out right now? Is it one or the other getting more or less?
Yeah, yeah. I think the Grok 4.1 fast um, left the lead of agentic AI.
Mhm.
So, and then I'm anticipating the Grok 4.2 is where they may overtake on the overall leaderboard and in some other categories. So then the question is, what's the release cadence that Google has to say, okay, I'm going to also do it. But I think they're right now the two leaders in terms of release rate. Gavin Baker did say that Anthropic and OpenAI have unreleased models that are really good. So they should still do that. But it seems that the compute advantage that Google and xAI have is letting them release more and bigger leaps in capability faster. So we'll see how that plays out. So we know that Grok and xAI will release Grok 5, 4.2 Grok 5. We have less insight into the release schedule of what Gemini is doing. But Gemini released a lot of versions of 2.5 Pro. They had their last version had a number of releases, and they're in all of the text to image and video stuff. So we have Grok Imagine versus that. The tools on the multimedia side are more mature on the in the competitors, but I think that xAI is going to fill out its suite of things that way. So the full stack competition that each will have will get more complete.
And if you say the words full stack, it just reminds me, buy the book. Brian and I are the co-authors of the book, AI Rising, and we have 7 other pretty good folks providing chapters as well. And one of the key things that we do, and which I think will be important to you to understand as we go forward. Now, maybe you have a huge, amazing depth of understanding about things like, data and inference and chips and mining and refining and et cetera, et cetera. But we cover all, I think there's 8 levels of the stack. And the coolest thing about what we found is that Elon Musk is the only one who controls his destiny 100% throughout the stack. Everybody else has to have partners, in particular, OpenAI. I mean, they almost do nothing themselves. They're having to depend on partners for everything. If any one of those partners, decides not to, that they've got a better offer, they could be out to lunch. So I think it was also Moonshots that pointed that out to me one day, which is how the book got started, was if you don't control the whole stack, you're at the mercy. And this is the greatest race ever. They could do a whole new movie now on the greatest race ever, right?
Right.
This is an amazing race to see who gets to AGI first. And these 5 or 6 or 7 players are all, they figure it's a one, winner take all. Doesn't mean
Right.
all the business, but the first person to AGI will have a massive advantage.
Yeah. Google's quite vertically integrated. They make their own TPUs, and the TPUs are very good. They have their own distribution, other things like that. So I'd say in terms of the vertical integration side of things, Google's a strong competitor.
Right.
So I think in terms of the next year, it's a Google versus xAI situation.
Yeah, and there's many, many other smart people that agree with you on that. All right. Well, cool.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. We'll talk next time. A lot of stuff going on. Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.